Hey everyone, Mr. Voikin here. This is lesson 1.7, probability, pages 22 and 23. So let's get started. What is probability? And as it states, probability is the likelihood that something is going to happen. And it is usually expressed as a fraction or a percent. So a very common example would be a dice. So we have a dice right here, and we roll the dice. So first we need to know some information about it. Well, how many sides are there? There are 6 sides. And what numbers or information or colors or what happens to be on each one of those sides? Well, I have the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there's lots of information we could pull out of here. I could talk about the likelihood or the probability of rolling a prime number, likelihood of rolling an even number, likelihood of rolling an odd number, likelihood of rolling a 5. So if we take a look at that, each one of those is going to be a fraction out of 6. Okay, so let's take a look at the prime numbers. So which ones of these are prime numbers? Well, 2 is a prime number, and 3 is a prime number, and 5 is a prime number. Okay, so how many prime numbers are there? There are 3 prime numbers. So the likelihood of rolling a prime number is 3 out of 6. Now, we always need to reduce that fraction down, so I can divide 3 into the numerator and the denominator, so we end up with 1 over 2. Okay, now this can also be expressed sometimes as a ratio like this, 1 to 2. And again, we can take 1/2 and divide the 2 into the 1, and we will end up with a percentage, if I multiply that by 100 when I'm done, of 50%. So we sort of have 3 answers here. We got 1/2, 1 to 2, and 50%. Okay, now what about rolling an even number? Okay, well, the even numbers are 2, 4, and 6. So again, same sort of likelihood or probability of rolling it even. There are 3 odd numbers, 1, 3, and 5. So same thing. And for the rolling a number 5, there is only 1 5 on this die, so that would be a 1 in 6 chance. Now that's already in lowest terms, so this could be expressed again as 1 over 6, or 1 to 6, or what do we need to do? We need to divide 6 into 1. Now, like I've been saying in all the other videos, don't forget to put the decimal there and jump it up to the top, and you can add a whole bunch of zeros after the decimal. It doesn't change anything. And can 6 divide into the 1? And the answer is no, so I'm going to put a 0 right there. Now I'm dealing with the number 10, so just sort of ignore that decimal at this point. Okay, so can 6 go into 10? The answer is yes. How many times? 1 time. That's being 6. Subtract that, I get 4. Bring down that 0, and I now have 40. How many times can 6 go into 40? The answer is 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36, and I have another 4 right there. Bring down the 0, and we've got 40 again. And this is just going to repeat forever. So this is going to be 1.66666 sort of repeating. So now if I multiply that by 100, remember from the last video, what are we going to do? We're going to move this decimal 2 positions to the right. So remember, this is 1.666. Now I'm going to tell you to present your answer as a percentage, so it's at least 16%, and that would be to the whole number. But remember, it wouldn't be 16 if I was rounding to the whole number, because it'd be 0.6. And this number would tell me to bring this one up to a 7. Okay, so it wouldn't be 16, it would actually be 17% rounded to the nearest whole number. And if I wanted you to round it to 1 decimal place or to the 10th, it would be 16.66, and this one right here is going to tell us that we need to round that up to a 7. So this would end up being 16.7%. Okay, now probability can also be expressed using words. So words such as these will be found in your textbook: impossible, unlikely, and even chance, likely, and certain. Now, I'm just going to explain even chance to you, because even chance, quite often you'll hear somebody saying there is a 50-50 chance. So that means 50% of the time something will happen, and 50% of the time something else will happen. So this is a 50% chance, which is the same as 1/2 as a fraction. Okay, so at the right down here, I've got a list of sort of events, and we just want to categorize these as impossible, unlikely, even chance, 50-50, likely, and certain. So which one of these would be impossible? Well, you should be able to see that it's pretty much impossible that an ant is going to grow to be 170 centimeters. Now, which one is unlikely, which means it's most probably not going to happen? So maybe there's a 5 or 10 or 2% chance of that happening. And when we look right here, I've been living in Macau for 12 years. I've never experienced an earthquake. It could happen, but it's probably unlikely that it's going to happen. Now, what about a 50-50 chance? Well, that's what we talked about right at the beginning, which is that I can roll a even number on a die. It should be a die, not a dice. Okay, and what is likely to happen is we got 2 choices left. Mr. Voikin will drink a coffee before 9 a.m. and the Earth will continue to orbit the sun. One of them is certain, and one of them is likely to happen. Certain is that Mr. Voikin will drink a coffee, and most likely the Earth will continue to orbit the sun. Actually, probably the other way around, but very close. Okay.